We're in the northeast part of Mississippi. We're in a small town called Saltillo, which is a suburb of Tupelo, Mississippi, the birthplace of Elvis. We have two legacy brands, if you will. We have Link Belt and Syntron. Our Link Belt brand is tied to our conveying systems, conveying components, screw conveyor, bucket elevator businesses. Our vibrating technology is tied to vibratory feeders, bin vibrators, vibrating screens, and that type of thing.
Well, Link Belt was the original idler manufacturer over 120 years ago. People like to say we started making idlers when the OK Corral was going on.
We have about 17,000 different SKUs. Bar stock is pulled in through a mandrel. It's a two-head lathe. So what it will do is be able to machine one end, all the threads and holes on one end. The other mandrel will pull it through, do the same operation, cut off, and then a puller will pull it out for the pick and place robot. It will then pick it up, and the robot remembers exactly where to put the last part, and will place it adjacent to it. And what's really kind of cool is when you look at the inventory and whip, it was never touched by a human hand.
And generally our tubing sizes are anywhere from 4-inch in diameter to 7-inch in diameter, and we cover wall thicknesses from 120 thousandths to 250 thousandths. We actually stage our tubing at our CNC cutoff, which cuts in different lengths. We do that to optimize our material. After that process, the tubing, from that point it goes to a 3-phase wash system, and which is phosphate wash, and then 2 rinse cycles and a dry cycle. Then it gets powder coated. Then after there, it goes through our oven or furnace, which is anywhere between 450 to 500 degrees. And it takes about 45 minutes to make a revolution and for the part to be cured. And it goes to our assembly area where it gets married up with the shaft.
Shafts are put in, inserted. It goes to the next station where nuts are driven on, and then the machine will actually drive the nuts and lock it in place and test for roll resistance. We realized that a lot of our volume could be done through a robot, so we put our first robotic welding cell in place. So it's basically doing 3 major welds, and then it's rotating to anything it can't get to in that position, and then the whole thing cycles through about 20 an hour. I guess after the robotic frames are produced, they're also powder coated. From there, they'll be queued up into assembly where they're married up with the rolls. So the rolls are assembled into the frames to have a complete finished idler.
When we say we invented it, we invented it. The original founder of the company invented the electromagnetic vibratory feeder. This is the company where the standard was made. So when the material comes in at first, it goes on to a plasma cutter or the laser, depending upon what gauge thickness of the material that we're actually cutting. And then of course it goes to one of 3 different brake presses in the facility to where it can be formed to 90-degree bends or sometimes very unique angles, so that we can then take it to our welding operation and seal it up and brace it. We have a lot of designs that require a lot of special welding and cutting. And then of course we also blast, paint, and simple again. So you have what's called an exciter or a drive, a set of springs that works in between these two, and then a trough, which is where the material actually flows many times. On an electromagnetic feeder, we're actually throwing material 3,600 times a minute. On an electromechanical feeder, we're throwing it around 1,100 times a minute. Proof's in the pudding. When an average mechanical feeder lasts greater than 20 years, and the average electromagnetic feeder lasts even longer than that. People have come to rely on Syntron feeders to be durable, to be high quality, and to give them performance for many, many, many years.
The people that work here, they are second to none. They will pull together and do whatever is needed by the customer. We actually have some super products that we're putting out because we do have state-of-the-art equipment and we have people that care.
Working with someone like Motion who provides, that day-to-day service where they're out in front of the customer, where they're out there asking questions, they're evaluating opportunities, working together as partners, we can be invaluable to a user.
One of the big things about Motion is there's twofold. There's one as a supplier and there's one as a partner. They have a lot of stuff available on the shelf for unique things to help us when we're trying to supply and meet the customer's need. Also, as a partner, I've been able to work with a lot of the various people at the Motion branches when they've come upon actual applications of our feeders or our idlers, and then we can help design a solution to meet that need. And again, that's a benefit for Motion and their customers and a benefit for us as well.